Hello everyone. This video is about Google Cloud. I am Thirukkumaran Haridas and I will be hosting this video in my YouTube channel. And this is my website H.Thirukkumaran.com. Okay, and I have articles related to BigQuery under cloud computing, and I'll be posting the videos in YouTube and adding some more details here. So a brief introduction about me. So I have over 14 years of experience. I have worked on 20 plus public facing websites, and I have managed a team of 15 people. And I have worked for 4 retail clients, 3 financial clients, and obviously I consume a lot of coffee as a programmer. Uh, so I'm gonna in this demo talk about BigQuery and introduction to Google Cloud. Okay, so this is my first video in this series, so let's get started. So here I'm going to give an overview of various Google products and services which I have used and I will be covering in the next few weeks through video tutorials. So the first one, I'm going to go to the products straight away. Google categorizes their products and services under these categories: compute, storage and databases, networking, big data, machine learning, identity security, management tools and developer tools. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first set of tutorials that I'm going to focus on is actually for BigQuery. Okay, so this is a big data database that is being hosted on Google Cloud, and we just need to import our data into BigQuery and then start analyzing our data. Okay, so to show the power of BigQuery, okay, I'm going to show you a demo from a company called BIME Analytics. Okay, so this is a company that builds analytical solutions for various platforms, a very good company, and they have a dashboard built on top of BigQuery database. So let's see. Yeah, and then here if you go to the BigQuery data, yeah, you can see it's actually querying 1 billion rows in the data set. Okay, so and then you can make joins with other tables and other things, so it's a very powerful querying. It's a very powerful database that this application on the front end shows it. So I'm going to apply a couple of filters here and see how fast this query. So I'm going to just select large media boxes, and then the moment I click it, it starts to search. Okay, and you can see the number of rows processed. Okay, and then if I want to do further filtering, I will definitely try a couple of more and see. Okay, so it again starts to process, and then you can see the rows being refreshed. Okay, so these are all like dynamic queries that are executed against GBs of data. Okay, so that's how powerful BigQuery is. BigQuery's internal name is actually Dremel. This is the database that Google uses to store their own search results, like in the sense whenever it crawls the sites and get some content. I think this is what it uses, but and they are now providing that same database for other companies to use it in their data warehousing area. Okay, so the first and the foremost when it comes to BigQuery, okay, is to understand the billing, because most of the times people make their decisions about the technology based on the billing. So let's dive into the billing first. So here the billing, okay, is you can go to BigQuery pricing. Okay, so and then here I just want to explain how the pricing works. So the first thing that you have to look at is you want to load your data. Okay, so the biggest advantage here is when you are loading your data into BigQuery, it's actually free. Okay, so when you are loading your data into a BigQuery table, that operation of loading is totally free. Okay, so let's make sure the scope of loading is fits into your requirement. Okay, uh, there are many situations where you can query data without loading it. So but as such, it's just plain loading from a file or anything. Okay, any data source, it's free. Okay, there is of course one constraint, okay, which I'm going to talk about. And then copying data. Okay, if you are trying to copy data from one table to another table, okay, that's also free. Okay, again the keyword here is existing table. Okay, that means like you have one table that gets updated daily, and there is a history table, and you want to move data from your daily table to the history table. Those things will be um, free, but again it's a copying, not a querying thing. Okay, and then exporting data, that's also now made free. Okay, and then querying operations such as getting the list of data sets and other things which I explain shortly. Okay, so as such, if you are planning to import huge data from your current data warehouse solutions, the approach is obviously the ETL approach, which is extraction. We extract the data from your current data warehouse solution, and then you transform it to whatever format you want, and then you load it as a file to Google Cloud. I will show you how to do that, and then from there you can load it into a new table. Okay, so that will be free. So loading the data is free, that's fine. But when it comes to loading data, there's another way that we can do, which is called streaming inserts, which is you can insert rows one by one into tables, just like how do you do it in RDBMS. Okay, so for that there is a cost associated, it's not free. Okay, so you have to understand, when it comes to loading data, when you are doing a bulk loading by file or from some other tables, it's free, but if you are doing it by streaming insert, you have to pay some money. Okay, so that's the first thing. And again, when it comes to BigQuery, okay, I have written few limitations, which is sort of outdated, some of them, but still some of them hold good. So as I said, BigQuery tables are not transaction tables; they are only reporting tables. Okay, you cannot update records. Okay, and then these two are now. This one is now outdated. You cannot delete selected records. Okay, the way this is now applicable, you can do it now. You can basically delete some selected amount of records based on your where condition. But again, most people don't encourage you to do that. Instead, they ask you to roll data fresh. Okay, so just go through this. These are some of, this is an old article that I wrote when I got started with BigQuery about two years ago. Okay, so some of them are outdated, but just but this should give you a good idea, okay, of what it is. Okay, and then when it comes to pricing, okay, as I said, the loading is good. Okay, as long as you get it via files into tables, that's free. Okay, let's go to the other pricing factors. Okay, one is storage. Okay, like the when you import the data into a table, basically the table needs to be stored physically on a file or in a disk, right? So for that, it's stored on Google Cloud's hard disk. So the storage cost for that is 2 cents per GB per month. Okay, and then there is another pricing called long-term storage, which is 1 cent. Okay, per GB per month, 1 cent. Okay, the long-term storage pricing means if you have a lot of tables, and if some of your tables have not been updated for more than 90 days, then they are not moved anywhere. It's just their pricing drops, because it's Google feels it's fair to people to give people an advantage. If they are not at all using any data, they don't want to even charge the storage at a higher price which they use this. So if you go to this long-term storage policy, they clearly mentioned if a table is not edited for 90 consecutive days, the price of the storage for that table automatically drops by 50% to 1 cent GB. There is no degradation in performance, durability, availability, or any functionality when a table is considered in long-term storage. Okay, if the table is edited, the price reverts back to the original storing price. Okay, and the 90-day timer starts counting from 0. Okay, so you just need to make sure, okay, that this is also applicable. And I think this is the biggest advantage, long-term storage pricing, because most of the times people really don't use historical data. And I will also show you how you can use this pricing option to save ton of money. The next is obviously streaming inserts, where if you are having a high availability website or process, a lot of backend processes which are writing a lot of things to log file, and instead you want to move it to a BigQuery database, you can obviously ask those apps to modify these apps to do a streaming insert, row by row insert into Google BigQuery. Okay, so that is also a good thing, but again keep in mind it's a little higher. Okay, 5 cents per GB, so you have to take into account if you want to make your logging process or something to insert this log records into this BigQuery. Just check the sum of your log files per day or per month. Okay, how many GB does it comes to? Okay, if it's like 5 GB or something, then calculate the price and find out how much it will take for the streaming inserts. Okay, and then queries. Okay, the queries is it's not the output of your query that is built. Okay, for example, if your table has say 200 million rows, and when your query returns only 20 rows, it's not that you will build for 20 million rows. It's actually not, it doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't, sorry, it doesn't build for you for the 20 rows. Okay, so I will repeat it. Say your table has 200 million rows and you run a query which returns only 20 rows. Your build is not for those 20 rows. Actually, it's actually for the amount of data that is loaded or parsed for searching. Okay, so I will explain how that works when we do the real demo. Okay, and then as I said, loading data, copying data, exporting is free. Okay, exporting you can do two things. One is you can export them to Google Sheets, Google spreadsheets, so which is very good, and if it's small size, it allows you to download via CSV. Okay, and if you still want, you can export it as a zip file and store it in Google Cloud. Okay, so I'm going to extract all these. Okay, so these are the prices for that. Okay, and then as I said, you can see some of the pricings. Okay, and go through this, but basically, at least if you are familiar with this pricing and this, okay, free operations and the pricing here, you will be able to make a fairly good decision. But again, it I consider it very very cheap for even huge amount of data. Okay, so the queries is up to for $1 terabyte of data searched or queried per month. You get only dollar free, but after that it's $5 by terabyte. Okay, so you have to take that into account. And other than that, this is one of the key concerns that people have when they want to move to BigQuery database. So that's why pricing is a major thing. So that's why I'm addressing it upfront. Okay, so if you have any questions, okay, you can always go to my site and contact me via Twitter, LinkedIn, or contact me page, and I will be happy to help you with your BigQuery needs. Okay, and again, there are some quotas that you have to also understand. Okay, which is very important. Okay, so let's find that out. Okay, these are the default quotas. You can always upgrade it by upgrading your account with Google Cloud. So concurrent rate limit for interactive queries. Okay, so interactive means you are running it like how you run it in SQL Management Studio or something. Okay, which is like 50 concurrent queries. Okay, and then again, Google has a feature called dry run. I will explain what it is. Okay, those doesn't count. Okay, so and then user defined functions. Again, if your query contains a user defined function, then only 6 concurrent queries can be executed. Okay, including both interactive and batch queries. Okay, so that's one limitation. And daily query size limitation, unlimited by default, but if you may specify limits, you can always create custom quota and set it. Okay, if you are a project administrator in BigQuery, you are supposed to set custom quotas. Okay, so I will also cover those things in the future videos. Daily update limit. Okay, which is 1000 updates per table per day. Okay, so applies only to the destination table. And then query execution time limit is 6 hours. Okay, and then maximum concurrent slots is 2000. So these are all like small things which we know. Maximum query length is actually 256 KB, so you have to be careful. And then the maximum output of the query should be 128 MB compressed. Okay. If it is returning more than 128 MB, your result is going to be more than 128 MB. There is an option to specify that. You have to check that, only then you will get the whole data. Okay. So that's one. And then when you are trying to load jobs, it's 1000 load jobs per table per day. Okay. And 50,000 load jobs per project per day. Okay, so you have to understand. Okay, so these things won't affect you once you are migrated, once you have migrated all the data into BigQuery. But when you are initially loading everything into your BigQuery environment, these things will affect. Okay, because you want to do a one-time bulk load, and some of these may not fit into your quota, so just be careful. Okay. And then maximum columns per table is 10,000. Okay, and maximum file size, okay, which is the size that you store to import into the table, okay, is 4 GB. Okay. And without new lines in values is 5 TB. Okay, so you have to understand this. And then this is in compressed format. Okay, and this is in uncompressed. Always go with uncompressed option, like in sense estimate yours by uncompressed. Okay. And then maximum size per load job is 12 terabyte across all input files. Okay, so your files also, you have to just split it into small sizes. Okay, and export results. And then streaming insert, this is very very important, because streaming insert is more and more companies now want to see the data real time, everything. So there is a limitation here, which is 100,000 rows per second per table. Okay, so this is very very important. So if all your process is going to write into one log table, and they always run like throughout the day, this quota will get filled. Okay, like you will actually not fit into this quota, so you just need to be very careful. Okay. And then, so that's why it's better to split your tables, your log tables or something, into multiple tables, and then do a union at the end of the day. Okay. And then 1 million rows per second per project. Okay, so and all those things. So just go through this quota policy. Okay. And then Google also provides a lot of cost controlling mechanisms. Okay, which I will also go through. Okay, so that way it is good. Okay, so this is about BigQuery's building aspects. So get yourself familiar with building. Okay, because if you are the decision maker in your organization who is encouraging company to use BigQuery, at the end of the day, people will come to you if the bill is passes some threshold value or budget that you have. Okay, so just familiarize yourself and then keep an eye on it. Okay, I will help you how to set up alerts and other things in the video. Okay, so this is one, and the next one is obviously how to use how to get the data for BigQueries. Like I have written few more posts which you can go through, which is I think yeah, this is a ETL demo that I have. Okay, which I will show it in a video, don't worry about that. So even here, the most important thing I have written is the data, everything, the data types, SQL support, API integration. Go through these. I have attached all these reference links here. Okay, so go through them. So it's plain SQL language actually. Okay, it's nothing complicated. Okay, it's a plain SQL language that we use to query, and then it also has built-in functions, everything. So go ahead and familiarize yourself with the SQL. And since if you come from a DB background, it's really a cakewalk for you to learn this SQL. It's straightforward, very similar to ANSI SQL. Okay, now we are in the Google console. Okay, so the way I would encourage you to sign up is go to cloud.google.com. Okay, and then here you can actually do a sign up. Okay, if you are not logged in, it will show you a sign up option. Okay, and then you can sign up initially. Okay, they will give you $300 credit. Okay, so I'm going to show you if I can show my billing history somewhere. Yeah, see, I signed up in July. Okay, like March, I think March or 2 months ago, like 2 months before this period, I think 60 days, they give you free trial and $300 credit, okay, which is you can use and play with the data, okay, and then after that you can start using it, okay. So this is what I'm using, okay. So you will be asked to input your credit card number, okay. So obviously you won't be billed till the trial period. Even if you are in trial period, if you happen to exceed that $300 credit, okay, Google will actually kind of put everything on hold, and it won't really charge your credit card, okay. So just verify that, okay. But most probably I haven't had any people coming to me and saying Google charged me during trial period, okay. It's just if you used all the resources, it won't allow you to do any further, and again at the end of the trial period, they don't really upgrade you to the full account. They really ask you to log in and authorize everything. Only then you will be switched to the real account, okay. So with your credit card and start the billing. Otherwise, even at the end of the trial, even if you don't do anything, your trial already expires and you will never be billed for any projects. It's just all projects will be disabled, okay. So the first thing when you come into Google Cloud Platform is it will ask you to create a project, okay. So you can go to this console.cloud.google.com, and in the home page it will show by default if you have a project. I think when you sign up, it will create a dummy project for you, okay. So you can create a new project, okay. So I'm going to create a new project called HTK BigQuery, okay, and then I'm going to create, let's see, yeah, it looks like it created. So I'm going to go to view more projects, and then maybe I'll do a refresh here and see, okay. Yeah, and then view more projects. I think I may need to go and enable something. Okay, yeah, BigQuery open. So I'm here, okay. So this is my new project that I created exclusively for BigQuery. So the first thing that you when you create this Google BigQuery project is, after that is you have to go to this API manager, okay, and enable whatever service APIs that you want to automate, okay. So by default, I guess they enable these APIs, and BigQuery API is enabled by default, okay. So if you want to disable, you can always disable, but if you click on this, it will allow you to search, and you can enable it, okay. So we are not going to use this APIs as of now. We are just going to do everything via DB. So I'm here. Let's jump into the BigQuery. So the way you go to BigQuery is you click on this sandwich button on the top left, and then once you are here, come down, okay, and then you will be able to see under big data BigQuery. Click on this, okay. So now you are in the BigQuery, okay. So in the BigQuery, okay, you have to verify your project name. This is the project name that is shown, okay. And then here, if you want, you can switch to other projects, okay, or you can create like you have to go back and create a new project, okay. So but before you start importing your data, Google gives you a chance to evaluate BigQuery based on some public data sets, okay. So this is very important for our testing. So we are going to use in this video mostly the BigQuery public data, okay. So as far as the billing related to the public data sets, okay, I want to explain that you will be charged for that querying in the public data sets. It's not free, okay. So I'm going to just give you the right link for this, okay. Public data, as you can see, a public data set is any data set that is stored in BigQuery and made available to general public, okay. But as I said, you don't get paid for the storage, okay. You don't need to pay for the storage of the public data set when you are accessing it, but you just pay only for the queries that you perform on the data. Again, remember the first terabyte in a month is free. Okay, so this, and then as you can see in the public data sets, one of the biggest things they have is actually GitHub data. Let's see, yeah, okay, the GitHub data are available here. Okay, so you can see it. Okay, so let's start from the basic ones. Okay, let's see which ones we can use. Okay, public data sets. Okay, let's say baseball or New York. Let's see what is New York thing. Okay, not this one. Baseball. Okay, okay, schedules. So a BigQuery table is a plain simple table. Okay, again, I will show you the way to create new tables, everything in the next video, but I just want you to play with the public data set after this video. So when you click on any table in BigQuery, okay, all the tables are enclosed in a container called dataset. So here baseball is a dataset. Okay, so it says dataset. Okay, the baseball is a dataset. BLS is a dataset and other things. Okay, so let's go to schedules. Okay, the schema says what are the columns. Okay, and what are the data types. Okay, and then what are the constraints in it, and then if there's a description available, you can add it. The details, it says the size of the table, storage size is 569 KB. Okay, it is in a long-term storage size too. Okay, and then even when it's moved to long-term storage, it will be the same size. Number of rows is 2400 rows. It was created on October 24, 2016. Okay, and then last modified on the same time, and it's located in the US data center. Okay, and again, if you want, you can add some labels to your tables. That will help you to group it among modules and other things. Okay. So let's go to preview. Okay, you won't be charged to see what's in the table if you use preview instead of select top, top 10 rows, other things. Instead of this, you can use preview to see how the data rows, and you won't be billing. It's actually retrieved from cache. Okay, so game ID, game number, season ID, year, type, day, night. Okay, so they have year. Okay, so let's do some queries, duration, team ID created, and all those things. So I'm going to run a query. So just run query. Okay, select, and then I want to see how many games were held each year. Okay, so select year comma count of 1. Okay, again there is no distinct, so you have to use this logic even if you want distinct. Okay, and then by default it adds limit 1000, so remove that one. Okay, group by year or by year. So let's see how many games were held each year. So it's 1.2 seconds the query took. Okay, and then the year is this. Okay, so and the amount of data that was processed is 19 KB. Okay, the first thing I am supposed to do, I made a mistake here, is before I run any query, you have to open the validator and see what is the size of your query. This query will process 19 KB data. I was lucky that this query was a small one, so it doesn't affect my billing. Okay, but if I go to other tables, okay, I will close this query editor. Let's go to details. It's 1.7 GB. Okay, I'm going to show you how this affects my billing now. I'm going to do query star. I'm going to run limit 1000. Okay, I just want to get the top 1000 rows. Okay, and I want to select all the columns. So click on open validator, and it says it is going to use the whole table. Even if I want top 1000, it is going to query the whole table. So this increases my billing. Okay, so that's why it's always encouraged, if you just want to see what's there, just use preview option. That is free. Okay, so the second thing is I don't want to want my query to actually use all the data in the table, so I just want to pick some columns. So I'm going to pick some columns here. Okay, so let me remove this. So I'm going to pick year, duration. Okay, and then just 2 columns, let's say. Okay, and I don't want limit. Now if you look at it, the size is only 10.2 MB. Okay, so you have to include only the columns that you want. If you include all the columns, it's going to query the whole table and your billing is going to go up. So it's always better to do this, and again just check in the validator. Okay, click on this validator and see how much amount of data will be processed for your query. Okay, this is 10.2 MB. Okay, now comes the biggest question. This table has 761 rows. And total size is 1.76 GB. So how come when I query just these two columns, the amount of data is only 10.2 MB? Okay, the reason is, okay, I think I wrote it in my post. Google uses columnar structure to store data, not like RDBMS storing each and every row. Okay, I don't know the complete internal implementations, but my pretty much my guess is there is a data structure in which we store distinct values for each columns. Okay, and then there is the record is actually a mapping to those distinct values. That's why when you query any particular column, okay, it gets cheaper. Okay, if you they store it in the pure RDBMS flat file format, like flat format, it would still be 1.76 GB. But I think the way Google organizes it is they use columnar structure where distinct values of each column is maintained in a bucket, and then the record is just a mapping of these indices. Okay, so I'm going to run this, okay, and see. Okay, and let's add count to it. So and see if that affects the logic. Okay, which we don't really group by year duration. Okay, okay, so as you can see it says exactly 10.2 MB. Okay, and then these are the rows. Okay, and I'm going to remove even duration and see, okay, how many were actually, how many matches were there worldwide. Okay, so this is only one column, so now it's half the size, 5.81 MB. Okay, so run query. Okay, so it's only 2016 data and they had like 761,618 rows. Okay, so this is what is the basic. So now the challenge is, let's see, I'm going to query this table. Okay, I'm not going to do anything. Okay, so I'm going to run it. Okay, that's okay, don't worry about the billing. I'm going to run it and let's see what happens. It's most probably supposed to throw an error, and let's see how it works. So again it gives you a notice saying, hey, you will be billed for all the data in the table even if your query contains this. If you are using free tier, this query counts against your free tier. Okay, you can use table preview instead to see the records for free without affecting quotas. So run query and let's see. So it's querying 1.76 GB data. Okay, it's going to take some time, but let's see. Okay, so your query failed. Okay, this is a error that I want you to remember. Response too large to return, that's the error. Okay, so if you are getting this error, okay, the way to actually fix it is, sometimes you really want to see more than GB of the 128 MB of data. Okay, so again, as I said, under quotas you would have seen it here, 128 MB maximum response size, 128 MB compressed data. Okay, so and I think the error message, okay, clearly is our data is going to be 1.76 GB. Okay, so that's why. So go to show options. Okay, here enable, okay, okay, allow large cells. Okay, got it. So so I'm going to execute the same query, okay, with respect to a export operation. So I'm going to create a new data set here. Okay, public data filtered. Okay, and then I'm going to specify that as US location and never. Okay, make sure this data expiration is never, otherwise your data set will get deleted. Okay, so and if you really want to create only temp data set that should be deleted every day, okay, then just keep it in this. Okay, so maybe I'll use this option. So let's say one day I won't delete it in the next day, because I'm going to really, I will forget it anyways, because I'm doing it for demo purpose. So now I'm going to select this, okay, and then give a new name. Okay, games underscore stats, and then I'm going to write if empty up unto or override table anything. I haven't even created the table, so that's fine. And then now I have to, okay, enable this option. Only then this query will be running and I will get this data into my new table. So I'm going to run this, and then I want to run it in interactive mode so I can see what's going on here. So run query. Okay, again it says it's okay. So the query is running, okay, and it will import the data to my new table. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so it imported these many rows, 1.76. okay, so let's go to the destination table and see what happened. So this is my table, destination table, same size, same rows. It was created, okay, today, and it expires tomorrow same time. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so this is what you have to start exploring. Okay, and then again, as I said, the main thing is before you run any query, okay, make sure you open the validator and see what's the size. Okay, what's the size of the data that is going to be processed, and if you need something, use these options. Okay, so this is the introduction, and again, mainly I wanted you to go through the billing, pricing, and quotas. Okay, so this, and before I end, I'm going to give you one tip which you have to do. When you create any new project in BigQuery, okay, go to billing, and then as an administrator or whoever it is project, if you are the owner of a BigQuery project, okay, you are always supposed to set alerts. So go to budgets and alerts and create a budget, okay, saying, okay, I do have one, so which, let's say I will show you one. So $30 budget. Okay, so you can specify which billing account, and then you can say $30. Okay, so so $30 budget. Okay, and then set up budget alerts. So send email alerts to this after they exceeds the percentage. Okay, so I'm telling, okay, my budget is $30, so when it exceeds 15, send me an email so that I can be proactive. When it exceeds 27, send me an email. When it exceeds 30, send me an email. Okay, and again, I will, in the next tutorial, I will tell you, show you how to set up quotas, custom quotas, so that if somebody tries to execute something and if it's supposed to go over your billing budget, that query or service or something will not be allowed to execute. Okay, so I will show that. So then if you click save, okay, so I have $20 bill alert, now I have $30. Okay, and then again you can come in and track, saying, hey, if there is anything here, if you can see where the milestone for the budget is, okay, and other things. So hope this tutorial helps. So I will post the next set of tutorials soon in detail. Okay, but this is a very basic intro for somebody to just get into BigQuery and start playing with. Okay.